Hello dear learners, I'm Christina Georgie and I welcome you to my channel. Today we'll discuss British poetry. Who doesn't like to read a romantic poem, am I right? So today let me introduce a very beautiful poem titled Kubla Khan. So this is gonna be a lengthy video. We'll deal with this video in parts. In part 1, we'll be discussing an overview of this poem titled Kubla Khan, and in part 2, we'll look at the analysis of the poem. So right now, you're watching part 1. Stay notified for updates regarding the upcoming part of this video. So let's have a look at the major focus areas of part 1. Firstly, an introduction to the poem Kubla Khan. Later we will discuss the life and works of the poet Coleridge, the preface to Kubla Khan written by Coleridge, and we'll also have a brief discussion regarding the summary of the poem so that you will understand it in a better way. We'll conclude with a mention regarding the structure. The rest of the aspects shall be covered in part 2. Moving on to the introduction to Kubla Khan. Apart from the title Kubla Khan, there is also an alternative title to this poem. So the alternative title is A Vision in a Dream. There is also a subtitle which is A Fragment. So this poem is considered as a fragment or dream. How do you write the full title? It could be considered as Kubla Khan or A Vision in a Dream, a fragment. Always remember, a title is separated from the subtitle with the aid of a colon. As you know, this is a poem written by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, one of the most celebrated romantic poets of the English history. Even though this work was completed in the year 1797, it got published only in the year 1816. Now let's have a detailed look at the life of Samuel Taylor Coleridge. So as you can see, he was born in the year 1772. He was not just a poet but also a literary critic, philosopher and theologian. He is considered as a co-founder of the Romantic movement in England. Remember the lyrical ballads? He, along with William Wordsworth, founded the Romantic movement, and this lyrical ballads written in the year 1798 is considered to be the harbinger of the Romantic movement in England. So he was also a member of the Lake Poets. So who were the Lake Poets? The Lake Poets were a group of English poets who lived in the Lake District of England in the first half of the 19th century. So they include William Wordsworth, Robert Southey, Coleridge, etc. He shared volumes and collaborated with his contemporaries. Who were his contemporaries? They include Charles Lamb, Robert Southey, Charles Lord, etc. Firstly, the poems, which include The Rime of Ancient Mariner in 1798, Christabel, this was written in the year 1797 but it got published in 1816. Kubla Khan, which was also written in 1798 but later got published in the year 1816. Dejection and Ode, it was published in 1802. Frost at Midnight, which was published in 1816. He also has to his credit a well-renowned prose work which is titled Biographia Literaria. So this is a critical autobiography by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, published in 1817 in 2 volumes. Moving on. Coleridge coined many familiar words and phrases including the suspension of disbelief. We could see that in Kubla Khan. He had a major influence on Emerson and the American Transcendentalism. Transcendentalism, as you know, is an American literary, philosophical, religious and political movement of the early 19th century, and it was centered around Ralph Waldo Emerson. Now let's discuss the preface to Kubla Khan. According to the preface, the poem Kubla Khan was composed one night after Coleridge experienced an opium-influenced dream after reading Purchas Pilgrimage. So, are you familiar with this work, Purchas Pilgrimage? If not, let me explain. This is a work written by Samuel Purchas, and it describes Chengdu, the summer capital of the Yuan dynasty, founded by Mongol Emperor Kublai Khan. So he had this dream, and upon waking, he set about writing lines of poetry that came to him from the dream, but unfortunately he was interrupted by a person from Porlock. The poem could not be completed according to its original 200 to 300 line plan, as the interruption caused him to forget the lines, and he left it unpublished and kept it for private readings for his friends. Later, in 1816, due to the prompting of Lord Byron, it was finally published. So that's regarding the preface. Now let's have a look at the summary of the poem. This poem, Kublai Khan, tells us about the kingdom of Kublai Khan. Who was he? A powerful ruler who has great command, and his pleasure dome with ice cave built in the mythical city known as Xanadu. So the first stanza begins with the poet imagining Kublai Khan in the city of Xanadu. He sits there while commanding with his lavish palace dome. A huge river of Alph is flowing through the enormous chambers and mixing into the sea. Further, the second stanza takes us through a deeper imagination describing divine creativity. The sloping hill having green plants also has a rift, and the mosses are covering them. He compares it to the wild and natural love of a woman crying in the memory of a demonic lover. So the next stanza, Kublai Khan can hear voices of his deceased ancestors foretelling about the future war. The poet also describes it as a miracle because of the sunny ocean and the ice cave coexist. Finally, in the last stanza, we get to know about a dream that Coleridge has. He sees a damsel playing a musical instrument. So while playing her instruments, she is singing for Mount Abora. He hopes he could have the same symphony as the girl. He wishes that it would result in the audience appreciating his poetry and praising him. Moving on to the structure of the poem. The poem Kublai Khan by Coleridge has 3 parts. So let's have a look at the first part. In the first part, the poet describes the pleasure palace of Kublai Khan in ancient China. We already saw that. In the second part, the poet is referring to an Abyssinian singing girl whom he had seen in a vision. It is about art that transcends life. The third and final part creates the picture of an inspired poet who can bring about a revolution in the world, a yogi who can change the meaning of life. Here is art that can change life and world. So regarding the reception of this poem, some of the contemporaries of Coleridge denounced the poem. This is because they questioned his story of its origin. But now most modern critics view Kublai Khan as one of Coleridge's 3 great poems, along with the Rime of the Ancient Mariner and Christabel. The poem is considered one of the most famous examples of romanticism in English poetry and is one of the most frequently anthologized poems in the English language. So with that, we come to the end of part 1. I hope you had a very brief overview regarding the poem Kublai Khan by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, an epitome of romantic British poetry. So we'll discuss the critical aspects and analysis of the poem in part 2. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, stay notified. We'll meet again soon with part 2. Till then, take care and thanks for watching.